Brian and Kenzie in the morning. And Chicago's alternative all day.
Q101.
Brian and Kenzie on Q101. Time for a fact that makes your brain go. And right to the point, 70% of us in Chicago do this, and it's something we accused our grandparents of only doing. And now, Gen Zers even, millennials, everybody is doing it. And it doesn't matter, the younger even more than older, 70% of us are doing this now. And before, only accused our old relatives of doing all the time because they did do it. And I will say that I do it. So what do you think it is, Kenzie? Something that, you do that only old people would have been considered doing in the past.
I know that, my husband makes fun of me for this, and he thinks I'm like a curmudgeon-y old woman for it, so I'm going to say that. After I use the oven, I leave it open because I don't want to waste the heat.
Holy crap, I do that too.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's and that's how my mom rock and rolled because it was pretty chilly when we were growing up. We couldn't wait for dinner to warm up a bit. So I just heat it up. I got to open it and warm up the house. Even in the summer, we're all warm.
Yeah, that's a great answer. I'm not going to tell you if you're right or wrong. Case, what do you think it is?
Having issues with TV remotes.
TV remote issues.
I think TV remotes have gotten more complicated.
Well, there's so many more of them now.
There's so many more of them.
And Apple TV went, how can we make it the smallest thing ever? Mm-hmm. Well, it's their goal. It's slippery as hell. God, the whole thing's slick and it's tiny. It just shoots like a rocket.
See what I mean?
Ugh.
It's the worst when you had to have, right now without a cable box and all that crap, just have one remote. I have one for the TV because YouTube TV, that's how I do it. Yeah. But back in the day, I had 3 or 4 remotes.
We have so many because we have what turns on our sound system and our TV are 2 different remotes.
Oh, Brian, they have a sound system you have to turn on with a different remote.
I used to have that.
Yeah, must
I
be
could
nice.
maybe get rid of it.
I bet.
I had speakers as tall as me.
Yeah, so everyone loves surround sound porn.
Who doesn't? Duh.
And then the Apple
I feel
TV.
like I'm there.
And then you need the Apple TV remotes. We have 3 remotes.
Do you have a Roku remote? Is that what turns on maybe your phone?
We have a Roku in the guest room because it's just my old Roku when I lived in an apartment. So we just put it in there.
Yeah.
So my husband's we do Apple TV. I was ghetto. He's okay. I'm that's rude.
It's very mean he talks to you like that about your remotes. Roku, ghetto.
If you need to talk to somebody, let us know.
That wouldn't be my first complaint. But the Apple TV remote also bothers me because I'm what is this, an iPod, Nano? What? I thought we adapted from this. I hate the little swirly, there's no arrows on it. The Apple TV remote drives me nuts.
Okay, so Kenzie says keeping the oven open after you've cooked to help heat the house.
Yeah.
Case says it's remotes, TV remotes. It's 70% of us in Chicago do this now that we used to accuse just old people of doing it, but now we all do it. We'll have the answer for you in 3 minutes.
Brian and Kenzie.
On Q101.
Brian and Kenzie on Q101. Time for a fact that makes your brain go. 70% of us do this, and it's something that we only used to accuse old people of doing because they did do it. And now all of us, doesn't matter if you're a Gen Zer or whatever age you are at this point, pretty much 18 years old or up, 70% of us in Chicago are doing this. Kenzie guessed, hold the oven open after you cook to let it air out and heat the rest of the house.
Yep, don't waste that heat, baby.
I do that one. And Case said about remote controls helps. What did you say? Help somebody with the remote? What'd you say, Case?
That they just have issues with the TV remote.
Having issues with the remote, which, again, I'm down to one remote, so I'm very happy about that. I used to have multiple remotes, but I do miss when I had to sell my sound system. When Kenzie brought that up, it brought back so many PTSD memories of having to sell it on Facebook Marketplace, my whole sound system, because Megan said it was too big. When the guy drove away, I almost ran after him and said, I changed my mind. Take my money. Take it back. I'll give you money to keep it.
She said the speakers were too big. Didn't you hang them up?
No, these were floor speakers, Kenzie. These are floor sound system speakers. They were as tall as me.
What?
They were 6 feet tall.
Well, now I stand with Megan again.
But you should have heard the sound, Kenzie. With a subwoofer, you're watching a Cubs game or you're watching Fast and Furious. The cars would go right through you.
One of the two.
From the back speakers to the front.
Only 2 things I'm watching.
I had 11 speakers, and it went all the way around the house, under the couch, the vibration.
Okay, relax. You didn't have 11 6-foot-tall speakers.
No. Not that many. I had 11 speakers, but not the side speakers were as tall as me, 6 feet tall.
Right.
But then I had surround ones underneath, the subwoofers. Oh, it was so good. It's gone now.
The couches shake.
Absolutely, 100%.
You should get the ones that you hang up so they're off the floor.
So I do have Sonos now, which sound great. The Sonos soundbar, the ones behind us for the sound around. We have the surround. It sounds really nice. It's really good. It was the right decision.
Okay. God,
Okay.
you're spiraling.
A lot of PTSD.
Hit me with that fact, Brian.
All right, the fact
Lord.
is, 70% of us, it's not about the oven, it's not about remotes, but it is about TV, so Case was close. 70% of us, and this is Gen Zers, 18 to 25, and even millennials up to 41, it's a little bit less, but close to 70%, watch our content with the captions on. Watch TV with the captions on. On your phone, on YouTube, if you have it silenced, the captions come up automatically. I think you can turn that off, but it's always on with me. But on TV, which I've noticed that I have it on now all the time. The
Really?
captions, I never turn it off almost.
Oh.
Do you not do that?
I only do it when I'm here because the videos can't play on the radio.
But if you're watching,
So if I'm looking at it,
something on Netflix or something, you don't leave the captions on anymore?
I don't. I don't know. But in fairness, I don't know how to turn them on. So
Go to settings.
So I don't know. I don't like to push a bunch of extra buttons. I don't want anything to happen.
I'll show you. It's not that tough, actually. It's pretty quick and easy.
And
Case,
I can already hear my husband like, "Why are these on?" I'm like, "I don't know."
Case, do you watch with captions on?
My girlfriend is a captions person, so I've adopted the captions lifestyle. And the only thing I don't like about it is when you watch a sitcom, sometimes it gives away the punchline before the characters say it.
Correct. Yeah.
Otherwise, look, it's a form of reading, so I don't mind.
Well, it's become, I think, a big issue of that we can't even pay attention to the show that's going on, so we need the captions to follow what's going
Well,
on.
at least you're finally getting your reading in.
Yeah, Friday nights.
We can't count that as reading. It's not fully paying attention to the show. You have your phone open while you're watching TV. So what are they just kind of half watching?
But I think it helps me digest the show more. Like if I'm rewatching Sopranos, now I like having the captions on because I can really, really dive into everything that's going on.
I like the telenovela captions when they go when they try to translate stuff to because it'll say gasps in Spanish. Have you ever seen
Right.
that?
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
It makes me laugh so hard.
Yeah, it's also you're not taking advantage of the cinematography and you're not watching the show. You're reading the show.
I'll relax, Spielberg.
Oh, 100%. You're not taking advantage of what they envisioned you to enjoy the show with. You're just reading.
Well, you watch the same show 800 times in a row. So you've gathered everything already, don't you? You refuse to watch something new.
I watch some things new now and then.
Like
but
what?
did I
What's the
watch?
newest thing you've watched? And you can't say the challenge.
Damn it!
I don't want to hear about that show ever again.
Let me think about it during the break. Okay.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q 101.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q 101.
Brian and Kenzie on Q101. Let's go to what happened last night. Last night's board meeting in Thornton Township saw the board approve several items, which is good. This is Tiffany Henyard, not only the mayor of Dalton, but Thornton Township, which gets her salary allegedly in the $300,000 range for a city where the average person makes $29,000 a year. So, some of the items taken care of, accepting insurance on property and government vehicles, services that have been shuttered for close to 2 months, even during the lapse when services were supposed to be halted. Buses of the city and the township were spotted shuttling people to Henyard's, quote, big bingo event. Which also had a side hustle, if I remember, that it was allegedly for a cancer benefit that never was approved as a cancer charity. I think that's what the bingo thing was?
Yes.
Okay.
I know she had a charity that she was, the FBI, whoever's doing the investigation, was requesting the receipts. Because you cannot found a charity without turning in
Sure.
receipts and donations and things like that. And so they were like, hey, you didn't do that. And she was like, well, I'm not going to.
Yeah, she's like, wait, what receipts? I don't know what you're talking about.
How rude. I'm helping people mind your business.
So on Wednesday, those are expected to be back running again, those buses that were only used for the big bingo event in the last couple months.
Which, by the way, think about that real quick. Think about going 2 entire months without any sort of public service. If the CTA shut down of the city or a Pace bus shut down, whatever, 2 months is a long time for that.
But then you saw the bus going to my big bingo event.
It would be like, because, Brian and I live in the city, if the CTA shut down for 2 months, but I saw a bus running that only Brian was on.
Pretty cool.
Well, when you put it like that.
Brian's for it. But here's the thing, this is a big cost for those people, because if you can't get around on public transportation, now what? You're ordering Ubers, Lyft. That's obviously significantly more expensive than taking a bus and the shuttle. So it's these poor people, all their tax dollars, she's in Vegas and stuff. Now they're also even spending more money on top of it.
Yep.
She's costing them so much money.
So those buses are running again, allegedly today, hopefully.
Cool.
Now, what happened in the meeting was a brawl of it all, as you heard about all morning long. Things got violent after known Tiffany Henyard opponent, Jedediah Brown, an incredible name, by the way. It sounds like somebody in history that's the guy that liberates Dalton.
You're so right.
Like kids would go, remember when Jedediah Brown in 2025 liberated Dalton and the world became a better place? That's exactly the right name for the right guy to do it. So he ended his speech by hurling an insult toward Henyard's way and CBS 2. So here is the full audio.
As Jedediah Brown finished his public comments directed to Supervisor Tiffany Henyard, he ended with this.
You gone.
And before Brown could get back to his seat, Henyard's allies, including her boyfriend, Kamal Woods, confronted Brown, and punches went flying. Several men joined the tussle where people threw punches and started kicking. Security guard tried separating the men. Witnesses say Henyard, who was in the front of the room with the Board of Trustees, ran towards that tussle. Her intentions unclear, but she did lose a shoe and was thrown to the ground.
Let's get his words right properly for history.
You gone.
That's amazing. Awesome.
Intentions unclear. What do you think she was going to do? Help people?
Well, I love the quote.
Intentions are clear.
The quote from witnesses, one of them said this, quote, "I have never seen a politician jump in and fight like that," end quote. I don't know what else happened besides her losing her shoe, but kept going. Kind of like there was that old video of George Bush getting a shoe thrown at him in a press conference.
Yeah.
It went right at his head. I picture something like that going on.
So it's important to note, in this video of the Brawl, CBS 2, they did a great job. They have multiple angles of it. Those angles and those videos are on Q101.com. Henyard is in the front of the room behind an elevated table. The fight breaks out in the side of the room and spills into the back of the room. And without missing a beat, she stands up and she joins that melee.
Oh,
I mean, she's defending her honor, I guess, for saying you gone.
I don't know if that holds up in court. I don't know if defending your honor is the best defense.
I think, first off, you have to have honor in the first place if you're going to defend it. So I don't think that stands.
Facts.
And second, imagine being a townsperson. Because, who's going to board meetings? Not that many people. So it's your first one. You're sitting there with your little agenda. You're waiting for your time to speak. This starts happening, all this drama. And you were like, man, I was just wondering when the ice rink was going to open. I saw it getting built. My kids would love it.
And we talked about the ice rink that was funded by $48,000 of taxpayer money that never opened for anybody in the area.
Did not publicly open, no.
Nope.
Which was a shame.
No ice rink. So as the crowd was ushered out by private security, the South Holland Police Department responded to the scene. Then those involved in the fight had left before officers arrived. No arrests were made, according to police. So the private security, which is interesting for a board meeting, got him out of there. Then the police of the area arrived to South Holland.
How was nobody arrested?
Pretty wild.
So many people need to be arrested. It's starting to piss me off.
Yeah. I mean, the FBI is on the case for a year and a half, and I don't know what more it's going to take.
Well, it might be like a Soprano situation where you don't want to get Tony Soprano for a petty crime. You're building a case against him, and you want to make sure that it sticks. So, sadly, we're at a point in the Henyard era in Thornton Township where starting a melee at a meeting is considered small and petty, and I think they're going for bigger things in the future.
They call that the RICO case in The Sopranos.
That's
We're
right.
trying to get you for multiple offenses. I learned that in The Sopranos and Goodfellas.
Well, you want to make sure when you know someone's guilty, they're aware she's guilty.
Yes.
They're not like, maybe nothing happened. They want to make sure that you get her. It's kind of like how everyone's like, how is the Diddy thing not happening yet? I go, they have a lot to unpack, and they have to make sure that they cover their bases, and unfortunately, it's like 30 years of bases.
Like Kay said, all the video is up at Q101.com and our Facebook and 219. Check this out. I just watched it on your Facebook page. The guy at the end climbing on the table and kicking is awesome.
It's incredible. Tiffany Henyard is entered. There used to be a phrase that was used in sports media a lot called the Tyson zone, because there was a period of Mike Tyson's career where you could say anything about him and it was believable because he was so crazy. Tiffany Henyard has entered the Tyson zone. I'll believe anything that's said about her at this point.
Yeah. Well, we don't know how long the rain will go, but it seems to be coming to a close. And once again, these immortal words to remember historically.
You gone.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
Q101.
Brian and Kenzie and Q101. And we just got done talking and playing the audio of the Brawl last night in Thornton Township, Tiffany Henyard. And Case went to thorntontownship.com. And when you go to that website, after last night's events, historic, where politicians jumped over a table and got into a brawl with people in the crowd, on the website, it just looks like she's going on tour. All the events it has for Tiffany Henyard basically looks like Q101.com.
It does. It's a similar template.
It's a damn nice website, I got to say.
And, in theory, I love government events that help the town, and there seems to be nice things in here. There is Tiffany Henyard presents Tech Savvy. Technology classes open to all Thornton Township residents, which is, in theory, very nice. There's also Cooking with Tiff.
Sounds great.
A Tiffany Henyard cooking show that airs 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. on the fourth Wednesday of every month. Brian, I don't know if you can see that poster on the website. Underneath the name of the show, it says Cooking with Tiff. And then in quotations, quote, "I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it."
Wow, that says it all.
That is the most threatening thing I have ever heard.
But very nice fonts, very nice design.
Oh, yeah. So we went on this website, thorntontownship.com, to try to figure out when the next board meeting is going to be, because we want to make that trip. We want to make that trek to Thornton Township. We'd like to be on scene for the next board meeting, but I'm not seeing when the next one is. I see when their Christmas tree lighting ceremony is.
And I see where her bingo night is, too.
Yes, big Tiffany Henyard's big bingo.
I see all of this. We're going to find out, and we will report live from the scene. And we close this conversation right now, anyway, from Abby, who said, Tiffany Henyard, son of a bitch.
Jonas, son of a bitch.
Who is that, honey?
Jonas Miller, he's a night crawler. We all start out in the same lab, and Jonas went out and got himself some corporate sponsors. He's in it for the money, not the science.
Thank you, Abby, checking in from Broadview today with that.
Brian and Kenzie in the morning. And Chicago's alternative all day.
Q101.
Brian and Kenzie on Q101. We're just talking about Thornton Township, Tiffany Henyard, and we went to their website trying to find the next board meeting so we can attend, and I will bring my fighting shoes, I promise you. But
What are your fighting shoes?
they're my Nikes,
They're Nikes?
so I can run fast away from the fight.
Away from the fight, that tracks.
I'm good at starting a fight. I'm not a finisher. I'm out of there. But we looked on the website, couldn't find it because there's so much propaganda of Tiffany Henyard's great things she has going on. But Dodger Boy found it for us and said the next meeting is Tuesday, February 11th. At least that's what's scheduled for the day if you go on the Thornton Township website. So February 11th, a couple weeks away. This is hungover from the Super Bowl still at that point in our weight challenge, but I think I can make it.
We'll see.
Yeah. Now, if we can get in, because normally anybody should be able to go to a board meeting, but she's been locking people out.
What an insane sentence, by the way. Normally, anybody can go to a board meeting,
Yeah.
but she's been locking people out.
Yes. So we'll see what happens. We'll report live. We'll go down there and see what happens. Help with my fighting shoes.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q101.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q101.
It's Brian and Kenzie on Q101. We're just talking about Thornton Township, Tiffany Henyard, and we went to their website trying to find the next board meeting so we can attend, and I will bring my fighting shoes, I promise you. But
What are your fighting shoes?
they're my Nikes,
They're Nikes?
so I can run fast away from the fight.
Away from the fight, that tracks.
I'm good at starting a fight. I'm not a finisher. I'm out of there. But we looked on the website, couldn't find it because there's so much propaganda of Tiffany Henyard's great things she has going on. But Dodger Boy found it for us and said the next meeting is Tuesday, February 11th. At least that's what's scheduled for the day if you go on the Thornton Township website. So February 11th, a couple weeks away. This is hungover from the Super Bowl still at that point in our weight challenge, but I think I can make it.
We'll see.
Yeah. Now, if we can get in, because normally anybody should be able to go to a board meeting, but she's been locking people out.
What an insane sentence, by the way. Normally, anybody can go to a board meeting,
Yeah.
but she's been locking people out.
Yes. So we'll see what happens. We'll report live. We'll go down there and see what happens. Help with my fighting shoes.
Brian and Kenzie in the morning. And Chicago's alternative all day.
Q101.
Coming up in about 5 minutes, we'll have a fact that makes your brain go, as we always do here with Brian and Kenzie on Q101. But first, we've talked about what everybody saw in Aurora last night in the Western Burbs. It's fire across the sky. And NORAD, which is our defense command, has not commented on it yet about what it is. Brant Miller from NBC5 said he thinks it was a satellite breaking up. Ha! Sure, it was a satellite breaking up. Sure. Aliens are here. And if you want to report it, Kenzie's done the research on how you can do that to a website. And Case called the phone number of the UFO reporting center.
Hotline.
The National, put some respect on their name. It is the National UFO Reporting Center. Be respectful.
So during the break, Case was on the phone with them, and then all of a sudden I saw the line go dead, and he couldn't stop laughing. So I don't know what the result of that was. You have the audio of the call.
I have the phone call audio. You can go ahead and play it, Brian.
Okay, let's get to what happened just moments ago here on the show when we tried to report a UFO.
I put the whole phone call in there.
Thanks.
No, we gathered.
Box is full, and there is not enough space to leave a message. Thank you for using CenturyLink's voice messaging service. Goodbye. Goodbye.
How is their voicemail box full?
We're being attacked.
Oh my God. They're slammed, Case.
So disturbing, so disappointing.
I would like to, if you're not going to have a 24/7 hotline, which I don't understand why you wouldn't, if you're running a UFO database.
Right.
At least let me leave a message so I can give you guys an update on the UFOs in Aurora and Yorkville.
It's obviously just full. You heard them. They have it set up.
Why is it not 24/7?
Because 24/7 you can file a report by typing it up yourself because they have that pulled
I
up.
want to do that.
Here's a thought.
What?
Okay.
Remember back in the days of TiVo or having a DVR when you'd run out of space? But now, myself and Case have YouTube TV, where now they raised the price, like $100 a month, whatever it is now, $79 a month.
About.
It's unlimited recording.
That's right.
I can record millions of hours of the challenge on MTV, and I'm fine.
I recorded all of the Olympics. I have every game on my DVR.
So,
I gotta be honest, I don't get the correlation.
Well, why does
it
hasn't-
matter if you're watching the challenge?
why hasn't voicemails expanded to that too?
That's true.
Why can't we have unlimited voicemail space? It can't be that much space.
Who's leaving voicemails anymore?
Goodbye.
I don't get why voicemails haven't expanded, because video has to be way more space on a computer, bandwidth than a voice call.
When you think about it, voicemail hasn't made any technological strides in the last 15 years.
Because they're like, who's using it?
UFO
That's how they
people.
feel.
UFO people.
Yeah.
I know, but you can file this little report yourself. And that's probably what they want you to do.
How many questions do they ask you on the website, Kenzie, to file a
I'm
report?
not even kidding. It's a scroll down. There's a ton. There's parts. It says part 1. I swear to God. It's date and location. You need time, date you saw it, duration of the length you selected on the map, your specific location. There's privacy. Where were you when you saw it, land, boat, aircraft, and other details. Part 2 is what did you see? Shape of aircraft is a drop-down menu that includes teardrop, star, unknown, light. I'm like, okay. Egg, disc, lots of options.
Anything
Cigar.
about-
Cigar is one of the shape options.
Well, back in the old days when they would say that when you hear UFO reports, because I've been in those wormholes, they always say it looks like a cigar. They used to say,
What?
Yeah, they used to say in the sky eggs or cigars.
But that's cigar is kind of part of my language, but penis shaped.
That's not on here.
But I feel like cigar, they're the same, they're cylinders.
No, because if you tell me you saw something shaped like a penis, I would assume, I
Balls?
would imagine balls too. Yeah.
Goodbye.
Thank you, Brian. So after shape of balls,
Yeah, I got to be honest.
color, so you're like a little fleshy.
Pink.
Yeah, number of aircraft, witnesses, sighting summary, angle of elevation, direction it flew away from you, moving direction, estimated distance. I mean, this thing has to take you a very long time. Characteristics of the object.
Anything about being probed.
Close encounter list.
Yeah.
Abduction, entities were seen, missing time was experienced, marks found on body afterwards.
Yeah.
Nyeh.
Yep.
Animals' reaction to events.
My dog was like, God, what is that? What is that big penis in the sky?
Oh, this is an interesting question. This is just, it says, are you any of these? And it says pilot, military, law enforcement, or aviation.
Ask
And
questions.
then that's it. So it's interesting. There's a place to upload it. Part 3, your contact.
How many parts are there?
I swear to
We
God.
can't go through them all. We got to get moving here.
It's insane.
Okay. Wow. So if you saw someone in Aurora last night, report that at that. What's the website called?
This is the National UFO Reporting Center.
But what's the website?
That's what it is.
National US. It's on. And what is those called?
Acronym?
Thank you.
I was gonna let her figure
All
it out.
all I did is move my hands closer together for reference. 'cause
She
I'm
started-
like, what does it mean when it gets shorter?
Started her hands way out. And well, what's it called when you go, either shrinkage or an accurate acronym?
The acronym is NUFORC.org. But if you just typed in National UFO Reporting Center, I'm sure it would pop up.
We'll put a link to it. We'll get a link to it, make it easier.
In case if you could just get that up.
Yeah, you can't call them.
Goodbye.
All right, right after Casey the Elephant, a fact that makes your brain go. With Brian and Kenzie on Q101.
Brian and Kenzie in the morning. And Chicago's alternative all day.
Q101.